Welcome back, and what a delight to have back with us today, and honored to do so, Liz Peek. She's a columnist for FoxNews.com and Fiscal Times, and I'm holding here her latest article. At the top has the word rigged with a question mark, and then, is Hillary Clinton innocent, or did she just avoid indictment? The two are not the same. Well, Liz, have you caught your breath yet? Are you taking in oxygen since this decision?
You know, I think we all have a sense of being let down, not solely because we think Hillary Clinton did something wrong, but obviously because the FBI and James Comey, who I still believe is a pretty straight fellow, refused to pursue something that obviously would have had enormous political fallout. And I think in this country, we do believe in the rule of law. We set ourselves very high standards. And I think there's just a general sense of disappointment that yet again the Clintons, by dint of their last name and their political prominence, have gotten away with something here that most average Americans would not. And of course, that sense of disappointment is compounded by the fact that Hillary Clinton pretends to be and passes herself off to be a champion of average people. And I really think this decision just throws into stark relief how fraudulent that claim is.
Well, it appears they're above the law again. What's so disheartening about this is he was building the case and laying all the details out. It looks like he went into the area where he became the judge and made the decision that she didn't intend to do this. That pretty much spoiled it right there, right?
Well, and in fact, you don't need to prove intent. I mean, that, you know, what he laid out yesterday was all the reasons that actually a grand jury could have indicted her. I mean, gross negligence and reckless carelessness are pretty similar, right? I mean, what's this airspace between those two things? I don't know. And it's very, I mentioned in my piece, it's very Clintonian to parse this language in such a way that she doesn't get indicted. I mean, to me, he made the case that could have gone before a grand jury, and he didn't want to do that.
Well, she didn't get indicted, but is she innocent?
Clearly not. Clearly not. And I think the only saving grace here is even the front page of the New York Times has basically a testimonial to the fact that she clearly lied. She clearly did things that were wrong, and she could have been indicted. And basically, Comey kind of backed away from that, even while saying that other individuals under similar circumstances might have faced sanctions or other kind of penalties. So what that tells us is, yeah, she's a Clinton and she got away with it. And that's kind of the bottom line.
All right. So where does it go from here? I heard Congressman Darrell Issas yesterday make the comment, he's chairman of the Oversight Committee, that we are now in a crisis. We got criminals running the country, and that's kind of a paraphrase of what he was saying. What happens now? Does this go away? I mean, it's the talk of the town. Where does it go?
It really goes to the court of public opinion, and it's really up to voters to decide whether or not they want someone so corrupt to be in charge of the country, and even more important, in charge of who sits on the Supreme Court, maybe for the next 2 decades. My take on this is that voters really need to be reminded over and over again at what's at stake here. And it's not just Justice Scalia's seat. It may be as many as 4 seats on the Supreme Court that come up. And what we have seen in the last 7 years is the Supreme Court is the last bulwark against a runaway executive in the Oval Office who has an agenda and doesn't care what voters think, because that's what Obama has been. And the only, as I say, bulwark or wall against him just running roughshod over the will of the people, and whether it's Obamacare, the Iran deal, whatever, has been the Supreme Court. So voters will have to decide. I know people have tremendous qualms about Donald Trump. The Supreme Court should trump, excuse the expression, those qualms and make Hillary accountable. Voters need to make Hillary accountable. And I wish, frankly, Donald Trump were better at making that case.
Yeah, I was not really happy with his response yesterday. It didn't come off clear, and it certainly didn't come off well, anyway, I was disappointed the way he framed the response. But Liz, cynicism is the cancer of our culture now, and if we're not careful, we'll just say they're all corrupt, why bother? about that. We'll try to get her back. We're talking to Liz Peek. She's a columnist for FoxNews.com and Fiscal Times, and she does have an article out. It's a fascinating one called "Rigged: Is Hillary Clinton Innocent, or did she just avoid indictment?" The two are not the same, and as she has mentioned before, she now is in the court of public opinion. And there is a mystery to all of this. Why did James Comey, director of the FBI, put himself in the decision to make a judgment on intent, which basically stopped an indictment being recommended to the Department of Justice, and therefore Attorney General Loretta Lynch would, if she said as a result of meeting with Bill Clinton, she probably would not follow through, or she would follow through with whatever the FBI recommended doing. So the Clintons get off. Are they above the law? It appears to be. And what concerns me is it's difficult not to be cynical about sequences of events where you have the Attorney General meeting with the husband of a person who's under investigation days before a decision would come out. If you're not careful, you say, oh, well, why bother? They're all the same. They're all a bunch of crooks. I'm not going to vote. It's all gone crazy. It's all a big mess. And if you're not careful, your cynicism or the cynical in this country could just really stop people from voting. Donald Trump, unfortunately, as I listened to his response yesterday, it's not quite as clear as I would like to have seen it or heard it, but nonetheless, he did fire back in his own way, in his own rhetoric. But this now, to me, the seriousness of what has happened here with James Comey making this decision is that it appears what got really rolled over or thrown under the bus is the rule of law. Where are we going here? There's an odd thing going on in this country. Maybe, Liz, you can comment on it. It seems the people, the citizenry wants law and order. The government doesn't.
Well, and look, I mean, a lot of these issues are very front and foremost in our political discussion right now. For example, immigration. No matter where you stand on approving of amnesty or whatever, it appears that the citizens, to your point, really do want law and order, and they want people to be here legally, not illegally. They don't favor amnesty just for that reason. Even I have talked to Hispanics in New York who are very adamant that people should come into this country legally and have to go through the same kind of process that they went through to become legal in this country. So I think you're right. People aspire to rule of law. We're all very judgmental about what goes on in China, for example, where there is no rule of law. And when you have top officials being treated differently, clearly it's a very dangerous citizen.
All right. Unfortunately, we lost her again, so I apologize for that. Sometimes our Skype connection isn't real good. Let me encourage you to maybe check out her article. And again, you could always Google FoxNews.com or go to Fiscal Times, but look at her article. Where this is going from here, there is another piece to the puzzle that has become, very interesting to this. And I just want to say to all of us, it's really, really easy to become cynical through all of this and do the oh well thing and roll our eyes and ears. It doesn't preclude our responsibility as people of faith and our civic responsibility certainly to pray and also to be involved in the process, not only running for office, but being a part of the process where you are certainly voting. But Darrell Isis is the chairman of the Oversight Committee in Congress. He made some pretty strong comments about where we are right now and that we are in a crisis in America where the rule of law does not apply to all citizens, that we now have an elite that is above the law. And that certainly is the case for the Clintons. And where Director James Comey certainly he laid out an incredible case to indict her, then he himself made the judgment that she felt that it wasn't intentional, and therefore no recommendation for an indictment. This is in complete contrast to this man's career. So something else is going on here that we only suspect, and that is the corruption at the highest level within our government and within our system of people and shenanigans and good old boy connections and things like that. It is an amazing thing that the Attorney General can meet with Bill Clinton days before this decision is made. Liz, I know we only have you back for a few seconds. The incidences leading up to James Comey giving his decision, and Bill Clinton and Loretta Lynch just happened to meet on the tarmac to talk about grandchildren. Oh, really?
I mean, you do wonder, right, what was going on? I mean, was that just a friendly sort of, hi, how are you? Or was it, hey, do you want to be a Supreme Court justice? Or here's what Hillary can offer you going forward if she becomes president. And guess what? She's not going to become president if you indict her. So who knows, right?
So what's your thoughts? Where do we go from here on this issue?
Well, you would hope that this result, this decision by Comey and his statement would certainly hurt Hillary Clinton's approval ratings and polling. You would hope it would give Donald Trump a leg up. But as your point, to your point, he has to really sort of start sounding like an intellectually competent person in taking on an issue like this and making sense of it, and issuing a statement that really kind of goes to the heart of the problem, not just tweeting. I mean, I think we're all getting tired of Donald's sort of, look at me tweets. I think he needs to start sounding a little bit more presidential.
At least CEO-ish.
Yeah, I know. You don't run a country tweeting, so why would you try and run a country that way? I don't know. I'm getting discouraged, and I don't want to be. I really want to be on the side of anybody who is going to take on Hillary Clinton, but he's got to do better than this.
Agree with you. Thank you, Liz. Sorry for the technical deals. Keep up the good work.
I'm sorry.
No. Keep up the good work and look forward to more connections down the road. Have a great day.
Thanks so much.
All right. Again, you can read Liz's columns in the foxnews.com, over at Fiscal Times as well, and look for the recent article about, is Hillary Clinton innocent or did she just avoid indictment? The two are not the same. All right. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.
I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.